Alright, so now we are going to take a look at a game that was sent in to me. Okay, so this is CleverOak. Okay, this rating's 4.85 against someone who is rated 9.12. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so E4, E5, pretty normal opening so far. 6 knights e3. 4 knights. See, that's what I do against the Petrov, because I think the Petrov, if you just go for the Petrov with like knight takes e5 or one of the normal ones like d4, that's just kind of drawish, I think, most of the time. And knight c3, yeah, the 4 knights isn't necessarily anything special, but at the same time, maybe someone that plays a Petrov might be slightly less ready for a 4 knights. Okay, bishop c5. So against the 4 knights, I don't actually really like this option for black. I mean, I guess it's maybe less common, but wait, can just take. I think it's better to go with a normal, knight c6. Queen e2, that's probably not the best. Yeah, I think just taking is good. Because you don't really need to put the queen here. You're blocking the bishop, and she's not really needed here. One thing I did look at when I started looking at this position was I wanted to see if the knight to g4 worked. But turns out, although it looks very tempting, because, 2 pieces on this, you can just, what is it? I think it was h3. And, interestingly enough, you can't really take this pawn. If you do something like bishop takes, well then, king just steps away. After, like, maybe bishop takes, king just steps away, and then this knight's not getting out. And if you take with the knight, then you can just do rook h2, and then, I don't know, let's play a random move for black. I don't know, knight c6. Because there's no way for this knight to really get out. And then you can just play g4. And I don't know, let's play another move for black. Then you can just take, and then you get 2 minor pieces for rook and pawn, which I would much rather prefer the 2 minor pieces, especially in a middle game like this. The 2 minor pieces are going to be much better than that rook. Okay. So back to the actual game. Okay, so where were we? After my idea of knight g4, which doesn't actually work. I want to check out. Okay, then we have knight d6, d3. Okay, that's good. Let's hit the bishop. I think is there anything good? No, that's fine. Okay. Bishop d4. Yeah, I don't agree with this because there's no reason for that bishop to need to move there necessarily. So, I mean, you have other pieces that need to be developed and things that can be done. So why not work on just accomplishing them? You don't want to move a piece twice in the opening if you don't have to. And especially to a square where it gives white the option of taking away the bishop pair. I don't know if taking right now is best, because then, he does get, say he takes. Say he does take. Then he does get this. Okay, so this is actually the way the game goes. Okay, so he takes d4. And then it does can mess with the development a little bit. But also you could play knight takes d4, which also, is pretty good because it would hit the queen. But in the game we have e takes d4, and I don't know, I don't like double pawns if I don't need to have them. And I get that does mess with the development, but I don't know if it's necessary here. Okay. e5, okay. I see the point. You're just counterattacking that instead of defending. I like the idea of counterattacking instead of defending. I do like that idea, but I don't know if it's the best here because you can avoid that. You go knight d5, and I think you'll end up with a slightly better position after something like this maybe. And then knight d7, I think you're slightly better. Anyways, okay. Back to the game. Where were we? 5. Okay. Okay. Castling. Okay, And e takes f6, queen takes f6. Yeah, that's not very good, because then he's just gonna wind up down material. And yeah, knight d5, because he can also get out with an attack on the queen and threatening this pawn. So I don't know, probably queen d8 maybe would be best. But he plays queen to e5. Yeah, probably not the best, because you don't want to allow exchanges. Like, if you allow the exchange of queens, then there's not going to be much attacking force left on the board, and you're going to be down material in an endgame, which is very easy to win when you're up a piece in an endgame. Because the less material on the board, the more noticeable it becomes that you're down material. It becomes easier to win. And also, there's less chances of checkmating attacks with queens off the board, so he should just take. But that would be the best move. Just be taking, just exchanging down. Okay, but actually, in this mistake, I don't know if I necessarily know what the idea is here. Maybe I think what he was thinking, and this is just my idea. If the knight takes, then you can win the queen. And I think that may have been what he had envisioned. But unfortunately, whenever you're thinking about moves, you should always think your opponent has different options, like as played in the game. Queen takes e7, queen takes 7, knight takes. Yeah, so he kind of gave up his material advantage. So you always need to make sure that you're thinking about all the options your opponent has. Okay, bishop to f4, hitting the pawn. Knight d5. I mean, that's good. Defending while attacking. And here is a positional misunderstanding. So g3. So it would be better to just hang on to this bishop in some way. Maybe just bishop d3 would be fine. But anyways, g3. See, this is something you need to think about. So you have knight and bishop versus two bishops. So you want to keep the two bishops if you have them, or if you're black and you're playing against two bishops, you want to get rid of the two bishops. And in this case, g3 would allow black to take the knight with the knight and double the pawns. So not only do you get rid of one of your real advantages, your two bishops, which are going to be much better than bishop and knight, but you're also allowing black the opportunity to double the pawns and isolate them. Say takes, doubled isolated pawns, and get rid of your bishop there. So maybe just retreating the bishop would be better. Okay. d6. Okay, let's out the bishop. Bishop e2. So that's good, you're developing the bishop. The only thing to think about though is bishop on e2 only controls these squares. Whereas maybe bishop on g2 has a long diagonal. See, that's the power of the bishops. That's why two bishops are a strong advantage in most cases. So bishop g2 would be pretty good. Okay, bishop to e2. b5. Okay, and c4. Let's see. g2. Okay, and then now knight takes on f4. Okay, now we see the double isolated pawns. Yeah, see, this isn't quite so great. These are pretty not so great in an endgame. Okay, and now black takes the long diagonal. Castling. I don't know if castling is necessary at this point, because with the endgame, king activity is important, so you want to keep your king more active, and castling puts him towards the side, and there's not really an immediate danger here. I mean, you could just go like rook g1, and the rook would be safe and on an open file. And also, maybe this king might be good on d2, where, I don't know if any possibility of this pawn coming into any play later, but, maybe king on d2, maybe at some point, just in case this pawn ever becomes anything. That's what you can think about. Just in case, I like to have low margins for error, and so doing things like that says, well, if any day this pawn ever does anything, then my king will be closer to it. And we also have the bishop as well, but that way, you know, the bishop maybe can move when the king just prevents it. And not even saying this pawn ever does anything, but just saying at least it's closer than if I castled, and that way there's a different piece guarding it as well. Okay. Rook A to E8. Rook A to E1. D3, giving up a pawn. Bishop takes D3. Rook takes E1. Rook takes E1. Okay. Okay. D5. C takes. Bishop takes. Okay, and yeah, this game is actually starting to look like a almost drawish, but we'll see. Okay, bishop d5. Bishop takes a2. Okay. So f5. So I'm thinking here, why not just skewer the bishop and get this pawn, and then you know you're on the 7th rank. That's a possibility. F5. Okay. D8. Rook E3. Again, you could still counterattack this idea, and then you know, just skewer that. Then you get back the pawn. Then you know, maybe the bishop retreats, and then yeah, it's still. So black. How many pawns here? Black has what? 5 pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many does black? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm a good counter. I watched a lot of Sesame Street when I was a kid. Okay. So let's see. So 4 to 5. So even so, it's still not exactly clear that black can win this. I mean, you can get rid of the bishop. Remember, rook in games are usually draw. Or, well, not usually, but rook in games frequently lead to draws. Okay, bishop to d5. This rook isn't pinning anything. Bishop takes rook to d8. Rook e5. So one thing to think about is this rook isn't really attacking this bishop because let's just say something else. Say you just activate your king more. This rook can never take right now, unless you know he first would have to make an escape hole or escape square, bolt hole, whatever it is you call it, wherever you live. Different places call it different things. But just make sure your king has squares to move to. Until then, he can't move this rook to take the bishop. Okay. Rook e5. G6. And yeah, f6. And now, yeah, this king's a bit choked. Because he doesn't have so many squares. Okay. And yeah, not so great. Bishop takes f7. See, this isn't necessary right now because you have this extra bishop. So why give it up for your opponent's piece? You don't even have to move this bishop either. This rook is stuck to guarding. Like this rook isn't even threatening the bishop. You can just play like here, and then yeah, you're making some pretty big threats because like you're threatening this f7 pawn, and he's not really gonna be able to defend too well. And you're on that 7th rank. Yeah, that would have been pretty. Yeah, because then you know this can't be taken. Okay, bishop takes f7 check. King takes. Or takes a5. King takes. And yeah, 3 to 3 pawns in a rook endgame. That's pretty much a draw. That should be a like 9 times out of 10. That should be pretty much a draw at this point. Okay. Okay, except now we do have these 2 connected pass pawns, so that's not so great. How do we get to that? Yeah, how could we have avoided that maybe? Yeah, maybe not play h5 or h4. I don't know if that's necessary. Maybe try to make him passive and defend. That might be something. Maybe go rook f4, try to make him defend. Because if you can force your opponent to be more passive, that can really help you out. Because then he'd be forced to defend, or he'd have to give up the pawn. Maybe. Unless he becomes passive. So I don't know, yeah. Say you want rook f4, or oh no, not f4. c5. Then the only way he could he would have to either counterattack something. Which, in your case, is fine. I mean, you can just go for the draw at this point because, I mean, I don't really think either player can really force a win at this point. But yeah, if you just go for exchanging off pawns just to hasten the draw, that would be fine. Because his pawns, these are connected and yours are split, so these are slightly stronger, not strong enough to win, slightly stronger. And if you can just, or maybe he goes passive in defense, and then that's good for you. But yeah, so back to the actual game. What was it? H4, rook to D4, and yeah, again here I think rook to C5 counterattacking works pretty well. Okay, and yeah, I'm still saying rook C5. Anyways, okay. Rook to D5, G4 check, king to F1, and the only problem here now is now you gotta worry about this guy, because this rook's cutting off the king. King can't get back over here. As long as this rook's here, this king can't come across to stop this pawn. So I think that gives black a bit of a potential to actually aim for a win here. H4, there we go. Okay, H4, there we go. Rook F8, check. King G7. Rook C8. Okay, going for the counter. You know what though? I don't think he needs to do that. I think he can just march. Is there anything that can stop him? Yeah, I don't think there's any really good way for him to stop. I think he should just march the pawn, because then I think that should work for black, because I don't really think there's anything, because this rook's cutting off the king, this rook isn't really nearby to stop it. You can't play rook to H8. I think that black missed an opportunity here by playing for taking the pawn. And I think that really cuts down his winning chances. I mean, before I was thinking he could win, but now I'm not so certain he has enough to win. C1, H2, King E2. Missing something. Let's see here. I think that that's by no means losing, but I myself would play King G2 just to stay closer to the pawn. But in any case, I don't really think that it really makes a difference. I mean, in the end, I don't really think it's really making too much of a difference. There's no real way to win this one. Okay, H4, rook H1, H3 check, King G2, and then yeah, we just get a draw. Okay, where did the actual game end? Where did my... Okay, so game ends here. Here's where the game ended. And I was trying to figure out if there's any way for him to actually win. I think, but yeah. Sometimes in king and pawn endgames, there's like weird little tricks you can pull. But in this case, there's no tempo changes with the double pawn move on the first move. And also no opposition tricks, so yeah, it's just a draw. Because I had kind of experimented with that, like King G5, or after King G3 and King G5 if there's anything. Because, sometimes you can do tempo moves if you have 2 with the pawn, but in this case nothing works. And it's just a draw. Okay, and this is where the game actually ended. Okay, so that's it for this game. Okay, so some things to look at. Okay, one, I like the opening choice, with the 4 knights, or 3 knights I guess it wound up being. But I liked it because it's actually kind of subtle. Not a lot of people really think about how dangerous it can actually be. A lot of people underestimate it. I actually got some good games where people underestimated what I could do, and then they wound up with a bad position pretty quickly. So 4 knights is a good one. Okay, and also against Petrov, because a lot of people that play Petrov may not have studied it because they just think, oh, knight takes d5 or d4 after knight f6. The other thing is work on making sure that when you move a piece to a square, it is in fact a good square. Because some of the squares, like when bishop takes f7 check, that wasn't necessary because the bishop wasn't even attacked. I mean, so it's not even holding down your rook at all. It's not attacked. You could just play rook to you could just play in that case, let me actually put it on the board, but you could just play rook takes, or not rook takes, but rook to, let me get through here. So yeah, right here, when you played bishop takes f7, this bishop wasn't even under pressure. You could just play rook d7 because he can't take. Yeah. The other thing is to make sure you're looking at all the move orders, because right around, what's move 10? At move 10, yeah, knight to e7 check. So, if he takes with the knight, then yes, you're up a queen, but he doesn't have to take in that order. He can just take this way. So make sure you think about all the move orders. Okay. And also, when up material, you can just exchange down, because then you'll just be up a piece in the endgame, which is very easy to win. Okay. So, and that is going to be all for this video. Okay. I hope you liked this one. Okay, and thanks for watching. Bye.